Good afternoon, David. It's Friday. Unfortunately, the weather outside is less than desirable. I'm currently on my 4th cup of caffeinated tea. I am indeed wearing a sweater with a pug on it, and I thought now would be a good time to respond to your vlog from Tuesday. Before I begin, however, I thought I would share the reasons as to why I chose to be your vlogging partner. I talk to myself enough as it is, so why not make something useful out of it for a change? I'm kind of antisocial when it comes to classroom type settings, so I thought talking to my computer, talking to you, talking to the class about class related things would break me out of my shell a little bit. Maybe even make this a fun experience. Vlogging forces me to read the readings and then semi-coherently get my thoughts down. Maybe. With that being said, let's get down to business. As you mentioned on Tuesday, Sir John Harington was the inventor of the modern-day flush toilet. But did you also know that he installed one of his prototypes at Richmond Palace for his godmother, Queen Elizabeth I? Unfortunately for the saucy godson, good Queen Bess never saw the invention as a royal flush and refused to use it because it made too much noise. All toilet-related jokes aside, I'm now going to touch on Harington's A Brief Apology of Poetry, and then spend the remainder of my time going over the readings for Tuesday. In regards to your vlog, I completely agree with you that Harington's essay and Sidney's are arguing many of the same points. Harington goes on to say that, for all, or for the most part, of such questions, I will refer you to Sir Philip Sidney's Apology, who doth handle them right learnedly, or to the forenamed treaty, where they are discoursed more largely. I also have to admit that I rather enjoyed Harington's idea that though he could find so many Alexanders, Caesars, and Scipios to back up his need for poetry, he also feels that he doesn't actually need their support because his cause is so good and the evidence to support him is plain and easy to understand. All in all, I think Harington's essay fits well with his translation of Ariosto's Orlando Furioso that we were supposed to read for Tuesday. I say this because he argues that poetry must be fiction and must be written in verse. Though the overall poem is set against the war between Charlemagne and his adversary Agramante, King of Africa, I think it's safe to assume that Astolfo did not fly up to the moon with 4 horses fierce as red as flaming fire the apostle doth into the chariot set. But I could be wrong. It also follows his rules about the poem needing to be written in verse, so 10 points to Gryffindor there. Secondly, Harington argues that poetry must consist of layers. You get the straightforward meaning of the passage of Astolfo journeying to the moon where everything lost on Earth goes, including Orlando's wit. However, I also read the poem as an example of the camaraderie or bromances between the men of the time. With all that being said, I'm rather interested as to how you would read the layers of the poem and would love to hear your input. That's all for me today. See you Tuesday, David.